Before this video starts, so you're one of these 87% of people that are not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel. What are you doing? Go down below, hit that subscribe button, then press the notification bell so you're notified when I do upload these YouTube videos, and then like the video so that it shares this video around to more people and it gets recommended to you more often. And leave a comment because I love reading comments and I respond to every single one. Now let's get into the video. So on guys, we're back with a brand new video, and before we fully get into this top 10, I'm just going to say that there's no academy or like father son or anything in the top 10, just because that I want to make it so it's who the club's actually got to pick in the draft, not Jamara Ugle-Hagan will get bidded. So Jamara, Braden Chappell and Lockie Jones are not in this top 10. They are projected to go and get bidded on in the top 10, but they just will not be put into this video just because it's too hard to say where they're going to get bidded at. So let's get straight into the top 10. So for the number 1 pick in the 2020 draft, I've selected Riley Thilthorpe to be picked in the first pick by Adelaide. He might not be the best tall forward in this competition. Obviously it's Jamara Ugle-Hagan that everyone knows should be bidded on first by Adelaide. But I picked Riley Thilthorpe over Logan McDonald simply because this bloke comes from South Australia and he's not, like, they're pretty much an equal level, Logan McDonald and Riley Thilthorpe. And this man can also go into the ruck. He's been compared to Tom Lynch, Tom Lynch has kicked 70 goals in the season before, two-time premiership person. So this bloke has really good potential. People also think that he could turn into Brodie Grundy type, or like a midfield ruckman type of thing, simply because that he can move around the ground like a midfielder, and he is big. He's also 201 centimeters with 100 kegs, so he's already big enough to play in the ruck position, or he won't go full-time ruck obviously, he'll be the key forward, but he can chop out for Riley O'Brien if he's needed to. So yeah, that's the number 1 pick. Now let's get into the second pick. With the second pick, North select Logan McDonald. This bloke is the Ben Brown replacement, and arguably this bloke could be so much better than Ben Brown, because this bloke has endurance, and he came second in the Waffle senior team goal kicking for the whole competition with 21 goals, which was 3 behind Jamara Ugle-Hagan kicked. So this bloke could go number 1 to Adelaide, but I think they will take the South Australian born. So yeah, this bloke and Nick Larkey can tear it up with Zerha, Jaden Stevenson and all these blokes. He is very great mark inside 50, he can run up and down the ground, and I think this is the perfect person. This is who I want North to take. I hope that North actually do take this man because he'll fit perfectly alongside their team right now. Next up is Denver Granger Barras. He's a key defender from Western Australia, and his comparison is Dylan Grimes. He's on a 200 centimeter. He's 195 centimeter, 78 keg key defender. He's a bit skinny right now, but he'll build great with this with their young backline. They've got like Callum Mills, Dan Rampy, who's not as young, and Tom McCartan. That's their other key defender. But they really got thought out by big tools because they didn't have any key defenders. They had Dane Rampy playing on 200 centimeter blokes, and Dane Rampy is barely like 190. I don't even think he's 190. So this bloke can come in, probably play in the second tall, let Tom McCartan take the big tall, and he'll develop nicely with the Sydney team. So I reckon that's who we select. And they could take Elijah Hollins, but I don't think they will because they've got Braden Campbell, who's projected to go in the top 10. That is a midfielder, so they can take this bloke and then bid on him, and then they get 2 top 10 picks for the price of 1. Next up, Hawthorn do select Elijah Hollins with their 4th pick. This is only their second first round pick they've selected since 2006. And the last one they did select was Will Day, and he's already a star. So hopefully they can go 2 for 2 and select Elijah Hollins, who is a big body, 189 centimeter, 85 keg midfielder who can push forward and is very effective when he does push forward. He can almost play kind of like a Dustin Martin role, but obviously not too early on his career, but he could sit forward like Petrarca did early days in the forward line, probably on a half forward. He needs to build a tank, he needs to get his endurance up to be able to play midfield like the man Petrarca did for his first few years of his career. But this guy actually could go number 1. there's like the 5 players that they're in the top 5, and he's one of them that people reckon they're just better than the other draft is the top 5. So this bloke will be perfect for Hawthorn. It'll be their first player they can build around that's in a young age. So yeah, this bloke will go great with James Warple in their midfield when he gets his endurance up, and yeah, that's who they select. Next up, Gold Coast do select with the 5th pick Will Phillips. This bloke is a hard-edged midfielder, goes hard at the stoppage, is a great tackler for a position, so he's a two-way midfielder. He's very explosive out of stoppages. This bloke could be the best player in this draft. I personally do rate this man very, very highly, is why I put him at the 5th pick. And yeah, Gold Coast, this bloke can go right around with Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell in their midfield group. I don't know if I'm missing anyone else that the young players that are in the midfield. And then they're like senior blokes like Hugh Greenwood, who had his career best year. David Swallows coming into the end of his career. And then they got Brendan Ellis, Rory Atkins, Lockie Weller. Like their midfield group has a great mixture of youth and olden players that they could actually push for the 8 next year if this bloke actually does become a star. So yeah, this is who Gold Coast will select with their 5th pick. Next up is Essendon. When they have these 3 picks in a row, when their first person they will select is Archie Perkins, who is kind of like a Josh Dunkley type. He's a forward that can actually push very well forward. Has played half forward most of his Vic Metro games. Did play for the Centennial Dragons. Is 188 centimeters, 79 kgs. This bloke was not even in the top 10 a couple weeks ago projected, but he's pushed up strongly in the draft. And if this bloke's like Josh Dunkley, I don't see why Essendon will not take him if he's still available. But he could get taken by Gold Coast, but it's very likely that he will fall to Essendon. So they will select this man. He'll probably go straight into their midfield because they need an inside mid like this. And he'll go very nicely along with their young midfielders coming along. And let's see who Essendon pick as their 7th pick. Next up, I've got Zach Reid, the 202 centimeter key defender. The only bad thing about this player is that he is only 83 kgs at 202 centimeters, so he's pretty much a twig, as you can see by this photo. But he might not play as many games in his first year simply because how skinny he is, and he'll probably get pushed around by like the big body key defenders, the key forwards in the comp. But he's a very skilled, he has great feet, almost like a Jack Lacosis type player. Very good kicking ability, great above the head, is a utility, he can push forward and back, and that's kind of what Essendon needs since they have a lack of key tools and anywhere around the ground. And their only key defenders they've got right now is young Zerk Thatcher, who I really rate. And then they've got the older players of Cale Hooker and Michael Hurley. So this bloke, he could go both ends of the ground, but you see Zerk Thatcher and Zach Reid being the 2 tools for many years to come for Essendon, and great to see when Michael Hurley and Cale Hooker retire. And with the 8th pick of the draft for Essendon, they will select Nick Cox, who is a key forward defender. This bloke was projected to go nowhere near the top 20, but recently he's skyrocketed up the draft ranks. He's projected to go around Essendon's pick, and you don't see why Essendon will not take this man. He's a key defender / key forward. He can play both ends of the grounds at elite level. Great mark of the footy. Can kick goals. He's 200 centimeters, so Essendon could select 2 200 centimeter players, which they've very lacked since Joe Danaher's barely played, and they don't really have an elite key forward. They just bring in 2 meter Peter, so 2 meter Peter and Nick Cox can play together on the forward line. Then you've got Zerk Thatcher and Zach Reid, they can play down near both ends, and then you've got that big body midfielder Archie Perkins to play. So these really filled out the whole ground for Essendon, and they really need some youth to go along with their other youth and get rid of their olden players like the Cale Hookers and people like that to bring in this young talent. And I like how they bring in Jai Caldwell also to bring along with their midfield, because Dyson Apple probably doesn't have too many legs left after he's been injured for the past few seasons. So yeah, Nick Cox gets selected here. Next up at pick 9, I have gone for Tanner Brunnan, who is a 183 centimeter mid. And since they already picked Riley Thilthorpe as their key forward for the future, and their midfield right now with Brad Crouch leaves open heaps of spots for improvement. So they already have Chase Jones that can kind of run into the midfield but plays a little bit more forward. They added Jackson Hately that will play a lot of midfield this year. So I feel like if they added Tannen Brunnan, he'll probably play probably every game next year in the midfield, in the guts. So it'll be a great pickup for him to have with go along with their mature age players like Rory Sloane. And if they choose to back in Matt Crouch for the remainder of his career at Adelaide, him too. So yeah, he'll be a perfect fit for Adelaide. Next up with pick 10, the Giants select Oliver Henry, the brother of Geelong player Jack Henry that plays, and this bloke is a forward unlike his brother, and he's a great high marking forward, has X factor. He could probably go into the midfield at some point in his career. He's 188 centimeters, a great marking target, and could kind of plays like Toby Green. So him and Toby Green in the forward line, he has someone that can mentor him. He's a very elite player. So it'll be a perfect fit to develop this man into one of the best forwards in the future of the AFL. So that's my top 10, guys. If you guys put in your prediction of your top 10 in the comments below, and I'll be reading everyone and see what I think of your prediction or anything you feel like that I should change in this top 10. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like and a subscribe, hit post notifications, and like this video so it gets shared around, and thanks for watching.